so much for being part of this wonderful project. I'd like to introduce two important people that are involved. This is Patrick Rundlad, our composer, involved, and Nancy Hamilton, our the film director. Thank you, Nancy, for inviting us to do this. It's a fun experiment for us, first time.
Great pleasure. I'm so thankful for all of you being here. Just thank you so very much for being a part of this. It means so much to me.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is opening, take one.
Ever since I think it was 5 years old, my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, had me on her lap in front of her piano, and she taught me how to play. And I remember I was mesmerized with the fact that I could get music and notes coming out of as I pressed down my finger. And ever since then, I've been hooked, and it's been my passion. And so I decided to take all my formal education in music and pursue that dream of just creating music. And so I guess early on I was really lucky, I guess, because I really understood I learned what my passion was and what I wanted to do. Almost since I was 10 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So.
Yeah, I think for a while I thought I had the desire to also get into film. So this is actually a lot of fun for me. I always thought that some composers in classical music, I think we've talked about them, people like Sergei Prokofiev and Vaughan Williams, at some point in time decided, hey, I'd like to do some films as well. And so what's interesting about that for me is the idea of, there's composition, there's orchestration, there's conducting. So I have 3 different areas to play with. And I think it makes it all the more interesting because by now I've kind of developed my musical sort of niche or palette, style as a composer and an orchestrator and a conductor. So I'm sort of bringing those experiences that I'm having in the orchestral world, maybe into the film world. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
with transformation, I really feel that the core of the story is about the human spirit, and to accept help from a helping hand when you might be at your darkest hour. So I really wanted to score to reflect that, both the darkest hour, the lowest notes of the orchestra, and really low, but at the same time also provide a sort of a glimmer of hope. So throughout the film, I have big contrasts, like with the low orchestra, and you'll always find a very high, almost simmering, a little instrument on top to provide some air and a breathiness to represent that glimmer of hope, that there's always hope, even if it's a really dark moment of your life. And throughout the film, I try to get the music to shift away more from the darkness and more to the light, and where at the end of the film, the score is really uplifting and really just represents coming home in a sense. Salvatore came in and helped me translate what I had into getting the orchestra to sound the way I had envisioned. And we've been working really closely to get it to sound the way we wanted. And he's been really helpful in getting certain aspects that I might have not considered, and to make suggestions and shift it around and to get the full potential of the orchestra, really.
Yeah, if I can add, I mean, there are different ways of doing that, and we immediately connected super well, and I think you figure out, okay, with the time that you have, is it this direction or that direction? And I think knowing that the best scenario would be, which was actually a challenge for me, because often when you're very restrictive with what you have to do, it becomes much more difficult. So in a way, it was more difficult for me because I was keeping all of your notes. We had a discussion about this, and I thought, it'd be actually kind of cool for me to keep the notes, not do a more sophisticated orchestration to the point where I'm enriching the harmony, adding more chordal sort of resonance. So even the chords themselves, if you had 3 notes in the chord, I did not double that here. It was more about octaves and just the different, and which instruments to combine with which instruments.
There's something about having real musicians and a real orchestra that you just cannot mimic with digital samples, and to have the ability to have the humane, almost like the human nature aspect of performing something when everybody comes together and performing the same piece. It's just it's a collective, almost like it's a community, and everybody's talking the same language and everybody's having the same conversation and just pulling in the same direction. It's magical, basically. It's coming together, and it's fantastic.
One of the things that was really important to me as the director in this movie is many documentaries are very intellectually based. And with this documentary, with Transformation, we wanted it to be emotionally based. And so we went to a lot of work and expense to be able to create this fantastic score with Patrick and Salvatore in New York, to be able to really hit the emotion of the documentary and to connect with the viewer on a heart level. And so one of the reasons we came here personally to mix with Rich today is we want to make sure that we keep that emotional content in the documentary. So we have this beautiful orchestrated score and this great sound design. So now we're going to just really enrich it and tie it together with the film, and that's the purpose of today.
And now let's swell that there.
And so
After everything falls in, as everything falls into place,
allowed
let's do a
God
swell.
to do.
To make it more
Before we
dreamy.
go into the flashback, just to give it some emotional, start to warm it up a little bit. So I just need to know where that first push is, that first thud in Johnny's fight.
Well-
Where does it, can we put just a little bit of echo on the flashback sequence? It's just
First?
feeling a little cold. Yeah, can we just warm it up a little bit?
The most important thing of any film or any documentary is dialogue. Dialogue's king of everything. So that's the anchor. And we've had discussions about this too, where music is equally as important in this film, and it's got a wonderful score. So keeping that on one side of my brain, that music's important, but also the anchor of the film and driving the story forward by having clean, concise, intelligible dialogue
Right.
is also very important. I know, it's kind of a mind scramble.
I think we're good. I think we're good, Patrick. Thank you. We just wanted to confirm everything else. By getting that, we've got everything else anyway. So as long as we've got that on the mark, we're good. So we're good. Thank you so much.